yes, we are here, we're running, we're live.
Mindset medicine, because this is something
Wow.
that is just a massive topic, massive passion of mine ever since ever ever since I recovered through natural means from absolute mental exhaustion, burnout, to the point of psychosis, not knowing how to communicate my emotions and my ideas and all that frustration that I thought I was more artistic and less like a pushy person that could do business, and or I had an aversion to business, and so that was obviously not helping if I wanted to at all um earn any kind of money and then keep it or do something with it. I had this subconscious like earn and burn. That's there you go. That's a
There we go.
nice little rhyme there. But up until then, I hadn't known that that was all playing out. I was enjoying my life, and that was great. But I was also enjoying it to the point of burning out so much here and there, recovering from natural means through reflexology. And in 14 weeks, I was like, the body relaxed and my mind healed. And and I was like, okay, what's that about? And so then I was like, what else is possible to learn or change through that and help other people from the age of 20 onwards? So yeah, it's a massive, massive topic, but to boil it down simply to like, oh yeah, also I've just leapt into this talking about it, but if you're here and you want to if
Yeah,
you
we'll
get
do the intro at the end. Yeah.
the insight, if you've got any insights or things that come to you, if you're watching and you want to share them or comment, it's more a case of as you hear it and you declare it back, it helps you to remember it for another time if it's really important to you, or and vice versa. It also shares with the algorithms to help other people that may really need to hear something like this as well. That it is possible to change, it is possible to grow, it is possible to pick what you want and have what you want and create what you want and all that wonderful stuff. And it's not just like going from I'm really stuck to like I've got everything I want in like, one day, but
Blink of an eye.
it, it's it is really depending on how much the mind is managing the belief systems and everything to go along the way. So um with that, um what were you going to say, Kay?
Yeah, well, I get to say hi, everybody, and thank you for anyone who joins us live today and or for watching the replay. So let us know either way and chat along, whether it is live or replay, chat along with us and ask us questions. We'll either answer live on screen or in the chat later on. So yeah, the mindset for medicine is something, like Rory says, he's got a tremendous backstory to this. And I certainly know it's been a very important part of my life too. And of all the topics we talk about personal development, about high leverage actions and small changes that make a significant difference, they all add up. And sometimes that applies to our physical health as well as our mental health when it comes to things like diet, exercise, thought processes, and they are all forms of medicine. Because when we've done that episode where we talked about thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, so if anybody wants to check back on that when you can, and we talk about how the body's chemistry is created moment by moment with the cortisol, the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin. All of these chemicals are in the moment according to what we're thinking, feeling, or believing, creating this reaction of getting ready to fight or flight or sit back and celebrate. And so when every part of our daily life through mindset is a chemical reaction, then it makes sense that this is a topic Rory has chosen and is a very deep one for him. But at the same time, I get it. I'm still working on this. It's a lifelong process. And our bodies change as we get older as well, which doesn't help because as things change, we have to change. And there are so many. And again, this is why my quote on the back of my book here is mastering life is all about mastering change. And sometimes we take that change as, oh, I don't feel well. I'll go to the doctors, I'll give me medicine, that changes it back. But as I've certainly learned in the past, is that very often ends up with more side effects and more medications. And I've seen so many other people end up on a sort of like a meal plan of medication rather than getting healthier. And we want to avoid that. We want to be able to find ways where we can naturally use that body's chemistry and mindset and actions and reactions to create more health. And that's not to say, I'm going to give it a pre-warning here, we're not advising anybody today whatsoever to come off your medication. Please do not. We are not medical advisors. But what we are able to do is give you some hints and tips and strategies on how to use mindset to make gradual shifts in alignment with your medication plans or with your GP advices. Or if you're genuinely not getting results from your GP and not able to get the help you want, then sometimes there's something in mindset that can help. So there's lots of things to come out of this. I'm really excited where this one's going, Rory.
Yes, yes, yes. Thanks for sharing all of that. And hey, there's so many cool things I want to share later. But right now, I think it's important to break down the two words that are the pinnacle, the balance points, mindset, medicine, and what's potentially in the middle. What I found is from mental fitness training. Mental fitness training is not just concentrating, working on the mindset or setting the mind in the moment. And that's why I like it. Or mindset is often banded like, how do I change my mindset? Or if it's a struggle, it's because if we're inside the struggle, then it's difficult to set the mind. It's like almost a bit like trying to do windscreen wipers and expecting the rain to stop raining. Uh,
Yeah.
that's why they're on constantly to wipe so that we can keep seeing. It's not a case of like wipe. Why haven't my mindset changed yet?
Yeah.
And
That's a good analogy.
if there's a lot of
Really
rain,
good.
yeah. So setting the mind is a daily process, is a daily thing. It's a practice. And so what and in the middle, the mental fitness practice of that balance point, it's not trying to stay still because life is not still completely. It's not completely in motion all the time. It's like can we relax for a moment? Can we get on with things? But it's like how do we enjoy that kind of seesawing that's going on too? And so and the either or piece is what we're often taught subconsciously and consciously all the way through our lives that if it's not this, then it must be this. So if it's like if stress doesn't, if stress is, if stress, if and this is what it's in my first neurocreative recollections book actually. If what is stress kills, true or false. And as soon as I say that, it automatically makes you think it has to be true or false. It's not either. It's not either because stress is blood pressure getting up in the morning so that we can actually choose to do something and stay focused on one thing and turn the kettle on. We need pressure and we need steam and we need like energy going into place so that we can have hot water. Um, but if we kept on holding holding down the kettle button until it's just boiling, 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 and not actually using it at the right pressure, then it's going to burn out the kettle. So, and another analogy
Did
there.
that with a saucepan the other week.
Uh,
I went out and forgot to turn it off.
easy
And they
now,
do run out of water.
easy now, easy now.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, yeah. So it's that thing of um balance and movement and change, like you say about the change. But the either or piece is so important because um medicine doesn't get to be put on a pedestal that's externalized. That's what I found to come about to is they said it becomes a choice. It's a choice, and remembering it's a choice. And obviously, it's a lot of options, a lot of confusion. It's a lot of people saying, this is the answer, this is the answer, this is the answer, or um so we'll get into that, but I just wanted to say that what is medicine? Medicine is something that helps remedy something. And again, take what you like from this, but the idea is not to put it on a pedestal as such. Anything can be medicine if we choose it to be. So that's that, and that comes back down to mindset. So they feed into each other, um, and the whole idea of to medicine, meditate, medicate, it's to um bring something back, revitalize, repair, whatever you want to call it, to change something for the benefits rather than the detriment. So it's like, yeah, and then we can go off on a lot of tangents there, but I just wanted to bring that in, the idea we can set the mind and we can also choose what is medication. And obviously, yes, external advice is useful, uh, and whether it's something's more emergency or more sort of problematic just generally, or is it things don't seem to be a problem, but that, things can go along and still have detrimental things going on without realizing, unconsciously as well, until it's like, oh, I suddenly get a diagnosis for something. Something happens and I suddenly have a diagnosis because it's not clear cut. It's not easy to know all everything about everything, and it would be weird if we knew everything all the time as well.
Yeah.
So that's the first piece that I'm bringing to the table.
Excellent. Well, I know we have somebody watching, but I can't see whether or not they're leaving it. Actually, we've got 4 people watching. So, hi to everyone who's watching live. That's awesome. Amazing you're here. So, no, that's fantastic information, Rory. And it's bringing to me various types of mindset around health and well-being. And that's the people who are very avid, like go, 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 very health conscious, to the point that that's their top priority for every day, is being in the gym and doing the workouts and eating all the absolutely green raw vegetables level. Then you've got right through to the people who make no effort at all on the other end. But in the middle of these mindsets of like prevention is better than cure, but then there's finding that healthy level of maintaining health versus constantly worrying about avoiding something that might never happen in the first place, through to just generally eating healthily but not being over obsessed about it, through to the people who just wish they were a little bit healthier. And I can see there being lots of things here. And then there's those people who are avoiding getting ill versus the people who already got something going on in their life and they want to use this mindset to recover. So I think when we're looking at that, is there any way we can break this down to help people at different levels? I mean, I think the people that have already got this and in that high, healthy mindset, to be honest, they probably could teach us a thing or two already, although you're already there. You do so much healthy stuff already. But, the people are out there doing all the big muscle bodybuilding and eating vegan, but like built like an ox. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I know they do it. I don't know how. And I'm thinking as much this point where people are looking at improving the health through to people perhaps with chronic illness, or whether it's something more along the depression, anxiety lines. Whether this, I'm just thinking, what can we offer these people to start to make those positive changes? So, like you're saying, there's all that recognizing where the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and patterns come from. But it's finding something that we can, because this is more your topic than mine today, although there is something in there I can share some stories around in a little while. And I think, what can we offer them in terms of how to take those first steps and perhaps even monitor their progress so they know it's making a difference?
Hmm. Thanks for asking. Yeah, there's a whole thing around, if we're coming to like health in general, uh, to look at it, they can look at it from what personal needs are and what there are for um what generally works. That can start to get if we can start to go, okay, well, how do I fit with the general information? If there's too much general information, it's about trial and error, but it can also be about finding out what more specifically what the individual has, needs, wants, perceptions around the mind, as well as the physical needs and
So like
react.
doing your own research
Yeah, well, just
rather
like
than blindly. Yeah.
looking at like because there's preferences which get to be met. Preferences need to be met, otherwise the subconscious will go, "What are you doing to me?" You know, if you, like I think you mentioned like last week around, I'm not a runner, whereas like physical movement is absolutely essential to keep the CO2 levels up so that we can access the oxygen, things like that. The more still we are throughout our day, the more we will get sensitive to CO2, which can actually cause us to get more anxious and all that kind of stuff. So physical movement, not necessarily having to put someone in a place of running straight away, is key to there's an access point to the mind that wants to just go, okay, I can handle trying something new out that's on a certain level, uh, or change, or whatever that build up is that wants to be looked at, and trying something out gets to be within that remit of understanding for the conscious and subconscious mind to go, okay, I can try that out. I can handle that. It's going to be a bit uncomfortable, but it's not the same as getting someone to stand on a stage in front of 20,000 people when they haven't done it before and they're scared of speaking. So the thing is like meeting someone where they're at in terms of what their perception of their health is, and then testing it slightly and tweaking it over time is a useful tool to because it can be again and there's three elements here that I want to bring in. One is one is One is that there's I'm gonna go off on tangent. No. Uh three things. One is that there's physical, actual, and chemical um disruptors. And they can be chemical disruptors or they can be physical disruptors that cause a build-up of stress and build up. Like you said about building up, or
Yeah.
it's accumulation. So there's actual things that do that. Like if whatever that well, whatever someone knows they um are reactive to, or uh that is not good, if they have loads and loads and loads of it and loads and loads and loads of it, and it causes physical problems. And then there's like things that are, and this is again, there's like actual and then there's perceived. As again, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, but actual and perceived, and yet everything goes through the perceived.
Okay.
So actual chemicals, like for instance, I don't know, arsenic. I don't, or something that
Very helpful.
something that's very harmful. Um, but on there will be a smallest of doses, like these, whatever it is, breaking it down to whatever dose it could be that the body could handle,
Molecular level, yeah.
um, uh, would could go through the body and get processed, and it get processed because the body and the actual body can handle it without the mind knowing that's happened.
Yeah.
So so there's but if I believed I had arsenic being put in, or I was fed arsenic, that could also cause, it wouldn't cause the actual same thing, but it could shut me down. I could, it's been known to show that the mind could actually then cause that to shut down and potentially even, uh,
The
you
placebo effect in reverse that
it's called
creates some symptoms.
yeah, it's called nocebo.
The
It's called
nocebo
the
placebo.
nocebo effect. It's literally called the nocebo effect, and I've experienced it many times, and it's actually over time could potentially be could be the thing that's causing a lot of people's illnesses, or keeping the chronic illnesses there or not. So knowing that something is bad and then feeding through it, that's why the mindset is important, to open up the space to go, how do I, where's my comfort zone within challenging my comfort zone, rather than like trying to go too far too quick with the mind or the body. So yeah, um perceived and actual on the negative disruptive side. Then there's neutral, like, oh, uh there could be something happening in my body that I'm not aware of um right now, and
Yeah.
and but that's okay in a lot of ways, because I don't need to think about it. And it's better that I don't think about it, because I'll be able to manage staying healthier that way than knowing about it from a place of worry, and a
Mm.
consistent worry about it. So there's the neutral elements of actual and perceived, that things like uh and I don't know, move, like doing the hoovering vigorously. If I carried on doing that again and again and again and wore myself out, I could burn myself out doing the hoovering. But it's actually it's actually a useful task to, but only to a certain level. It's only useful to a certain level.
On a
Uh,
different level for you than it would be for me. I have to watch my back pain with the hoovering. So we're doing it's warming up and it's useful, but it takes me longer and I have to do it more carefully. But it is again about actually using that mindset for how I move to maintain my health level in a way. But I
yeah.
really like what you're saying though with the disruptors, the physical being like impacts, cuts, scratches, bruises, falls, trips, anything like that that disrupts the physical body. Chemical being like you say, whether it is medication, poisons, or food, because food can be both positive and negative. And then all the others, I've lost it already. Then, like you say, and all the mindset ones as well, where we can, and like you say, even with things like anxiety, if we're chronically anxious all the time, that's very similar to chronically moving all the time and never stopping will create inflammation. And
Mm.
so yeah, some really good. Very very quickly, we have a question from Claudia as well. She says hi, and really great topic. Do you mean medicine as an informed decision unless medically necessary?
Say that again, please.
Claudia is saying to us, do you mean medicine as an informed decision unless medically necessary? I think the answer is yes. In short, yes.
Yeah.
Um, as in, yes, we're not saying cut medicine out, and we're not saying don't go to a doctor. But if there are things that we can do to improve health through mindset, then are they the wise choice to begin with to avoid over medicating and putting all those chemical disruptors in our body unless we need them? But yeah, absolutely not to cut things out on purpose as well.
Yeah, yeah, and that spectrum of like whether something is in excess physically without knowing, again, could have the neutral mindset, not knowing that something's in excess, or not enough of something, uh, that helps to maintain physical and chemical management of the body. And then moving into the other side, which is that perceived good things and that they're actually useful and beneficial.
Yeah.
So, so for instance, but if that useful beneficial thing is needed in the body, but there's become a learnt mindset that it's negative, it could cause a negative reaction. So,
Mm.
so there's an argument to say that, not saying, it's not saying like overall. I'm saying specifically for some people, and for who's to say that physical reactions to things aren't just a learnt pattern. And so that's again the piece where it's like, if it's been learnt and there was an initial reaction from before, and it's become a learnt reaction, there's a physical reaction in the body because the subconscious has learnt that is dangerous. And
Mm.
so we're talking like, a lot of different things here, but yeah. So looking at it as a score, doing good things that actually have a chemical and physical positivity would have a maximum, let's say, have a maximum health score, the health, lifestyle health management score, whatever you want, health points, and then lack of health points maybe doing things or thinking that things have to be a certain way and that they're done a certain way that cause physical and chemical and emotional disruption. Uh, and the perception of that, that's the opposite end of the scale. So that could be causing reactions, causing these things to all
Mm.
occur. And then vice versa, anywhere in between, there could be things like um, in Super Size Me, the film Super Size Me, the guy goes around America eating McDonald's because he's declared to see what it will do to his actual health.
In that, yeah.
He's tried to stay neutral in his mindset in the middle, but but knew about the evidence of it, but just did it anyway. And to discover, because that's the only way he wanted to find out. And he met someone that had a Big Mac for lunch every single day, none of the extra stuff, no over stimulation of sugars and all the stuff that it but probably not so much, no, not so much real nutrition that's going to fuel, but they had it every day, and then they had other things. They just had the Big Mac every single day,
Mm.
and accumulation over time, they believed it was lovely and healthy for them, and they didn't have any, you know, out obvious health deficiencies
Mm.
going. So it's just again knowing about perception, and I can go on a lot more with a few. There's a couple of other things I want to bring up, but what are you getting from that, Kay?
Yeah, no, definitely a lot in there. It's amazing how much there is to unpack with this one. And I've got so many things running around my head. It's like trying to pick something to talk about from here. Um, like I've seen that one with the supersize, and it might have been that one or a different one, but I definitely saw the mindset that it took for him to eat a higher level value of food every day than he was used to, and how he felt his body changing, but how much more difficult it was for him to change that mindset back and get healthy again. It was harder to get back to his normal weight than he'd expected. And it was quite mentally challenging for him. But at the end of the day, the challenge wasn't about just, oh, eating different food again. The biggest challenge was the mental challenge and having to keep going and making those choices every day. And that's, I think, what happens with a lot of us is the mental health mindset, thought processes, thoughts, feelings, beliefs actually get in the way more than we realize, more than we acknowledge sometimes. And it's when we can work on those, get support, coaching, help, accountability, that then provides us the greatest benefits. And working on self-love, compassion, and having that accountability is really powerful. And I know we've talked about that before. I've definitely seen a lot of it with myself. I mean, up until I was about 40, I mean, I would eat and eat. There was no limit on what I could put on my dinner plate, how much chocolate or toast and butter I could eat. I know I could eat what I like. I never seemed to put weight on. And then wasn't until I learned that one of the reasons I was asthmatic was the dairy. So I cut out dairy in my diet and started having alternatives. And then I gradually started increasing in weight until I went from eventually from 11 stone right up to about 16 stone. And I put on a tremendous amount of weight over a number of years, and most of that over the last few years. But I hadn't realized, and this is sometimes the things we're unaware of, we do need that knowledge for. And no matter how much I worked on my mindset, on my diet, on my health, on my exercise, I still kept putting the weight on. So sometimes we do still need to override that with knowledge. And then I found out I was allergic to even more to all the things I was using as replacements, and more allergies were coming in. But once I changed them around, I still have had to work on my mindset to be able to control my diet, to get some of the weight back down, not all of it yet, to get my health back. But the mindset is the bit, ultimately, when I'd got all of the dietary results, there's nothing the doctors can do to cure my allergies. So it has been purely mindset work to keep working on my diet, to keep working on my health, to be consciously aware of what my body is doing and saying to me, what sensations or feelings are going with what food and all of that. So I've definitely had a lot of mindset work to do around the food and the medications that I've then had to shift and take and come off of throughout those years to try different things as well. And like you're saying, sometimes it can be, oh, this isn't working, let's try eliminating something. But if it's not changing, then you eliminate something else. And that brings me back to what you said at the beginning. It's sometimes it's not this answer or this answer. It could be neither answer. It could be both answers. It could be a lot more answers. So it is about being open minded that if you are doing this mindset work for any reason and you are not getting results, it doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. It doesn't necessarily mean you're on the wrong track, but it might mean there are still more answers to find overall. But it's about the never giving up and still believing in yourself, still having compassion and self love for yourself, and finding that accountability to keep going until you get those answers that help you make progress. So a
Thank you.
little bit of a rant there.
That's brilliant. Love it. That's great to hear, and it's important to hear. The piece around the idea that we are a master of what we've chosen and created in everything we've reacted to, regardless of whether we've choose to react to it or act upon something, and our behaviors as a result of our choices. Up until now, we've mastered all of that. And what is happening is that there's a force of energy flowing through the body, setting body setting. We set the mind, the body sets the body through whatever we are t telling ourselves. And so it's noticing that, because we don't have to think about how our hand will repair um, every day to look like a hand. So there's all this stuff that's going on. It's more a case of what I would like to describe it as, it's like open up the funnel in a relaxed way to go, well, I want to go over here. What does it take to go over there? And channel that, because the energy is already there. The body and the mind that we have is there. So that's the key piece that I like to bring. It's like just what about just for a moment, just relaxing and dropping anything that's been known consciously right now, and just going, what is it that I actually would like? Because the health piece is a perception of um I I can look at go I can look and to 6 months time from now and go, I want to be better at this. And that's, if I'm there looking back at now, I'd be looking back and going, I wasn't so good at that.
Mm,
So I was less healthy um over there in the past 6 months ago, or whatever it was. This is just an example. Or I can want to be more healthy over here. And it doesn't matter whether it's a really wide scale of I'm really stuck, or I'm really, really vibrant and energized, or whatever it is. But it's a sliding scale again of where whatever that is. So noticing that is that the health piece is perception, and it's based on how we feel and how we want to perform. Those are the only two pieces that we need to know. Um, how do I want to feel, rather than, but also how do I want to perform? Because I can be in pain and still go for a walk, and I can say that I'm healthy enough to go for a walk. Um, or I can not be in pain, but for some reason I can't do this thing. Is that unhealthy? Whereas there's no actual description in the diary for health that says health is about how we feel.
mm,
And yet we gauge it as humans, and it's probably come in a lot more since the dawn of time, not the dawn of time, ancient times, we've become more and more responsible. We've had more time to think about what we want to create and get more upset about it or less upset about it, whereas we would just get on with it before. Now we're becoming more and more aware. We can choose, but then we can. Are we choosing to feel upset about that? And is that upset? Is that upsetness building into and causing more physical symptoms of upset to the point of pain or not? It's just ideas on what to throw out there. It's like how are we feeling about it and where do we want it, what we want to do with our lives is where we can go with improving. But it's it's all it can always be one bit better or change one more thing. So when I get there, I can change it again. Or if I feel like less in control of that process, is it the mindset, the belief that I'm less in control that causes me to be not in control as much. So it's really important to keep going. What am I thinking and what am I believing about? Not just about what thoughts are already there, but what are my beliefs about those thoughts and what do I want to believe about those thoughts? That's the mindset piece. It's about the belief systems. And the last little bit that I'll bring in, I've listened to a podcast with Mel Robbins. I can't remember who the 50 years of research in mind in health coming to the point of mindset. And the lady, the scientist, was talking about she's done physical experiments where people um acted out being back in time to a point where they were experiencing all of the life events and general life events at that time when they were more healthy and more vibrant, and that's all they did for a week was be inside a room with like
Yeah.
the TV shows at that time, all the things, and that mindset, it stopped them thinking about other things and brought them to a point where and they started to be more healthy. They
Mm.
started to, and it's like, yeah, she's done number of um. I'll have to find the name, but
It was actually, I don't know if it was a lady that did the experiment, but I was at a talk in Norwich a few weeks back, and that was told to me. And I think I relayed it to you actually by Dr. David Hamilton, How the Mind Heals the Body. And I was talking about all the placebo, nocebo effects then. And that was a really powerful talk. And there was a lot of stuff in there about, yeah, literally how pain, like you're saying, can be perceived or not perceived according to what you believe rather than what's actually happening. But yeah, they said that they had these group of people in these rooms doing things as if they were 30, 40 years younger. And it actually biologically reversed their age in the process of spending a week, like literally everything as if they were in the past. It was really clever, actually. So
amazing.
what happens when people go off to these weeks to do reenactments in the 1800s? That must work well.
Yeah, 1800s is a bit more crazy.
Yeah. Or
You
is it,
weren't alive at that point then, were they?
or do they feel older because it's so historical? I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I wonder how that works.
Well, it was to a point in time when they were alive.
Yeah. That's just my brain going off down a rabbit hole.
Ah,
I
okay.
wonder. Sorry.
Um, all right. But yeah, so 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 yeah, the last thing I wanted to bring in the idea was that I found myself doing, I've only just been able to really describe it. I found myself doing this
Yeah.
all the time since I got better mentally. Um, and it is that I would do, my pattern is read up about something, get excited about something and how it works for other people. And then not just, I wouldn't just try it I wanted to try it and not change my health. If I wanted to try something without any kind of bias, then I would try it without any bias to see whether, but then now the more I realize that is that that could potentially slow down anything for no reason because the mind is controlling so much of that. So, so, so there was this neutral testing ground that I would do, but also if I was like, I'm really struggling with this thing, and I know that I need to have more of this or do more of this, I'm going to read about it, get excited about it, but not just get stuck on a learning loop about it, just enough to go, that's the validation I need. Just like Amazon shopping where or something where you go online to find out about a product and get and read the reviews to make sure that it's quality before buying it. So doing that process can become more and more automatic to the point of anything now. So when I pick an apple up, which you find funny because of this process, but
That's my biggest
I
allergy.
grab
Yeah.
an apple. I'm like I'm just imagining the whole vitamin C thing. When I'm eating it, I'm imagining getting all the antioxidants from it. Not like, in a sort of like crazily logistical way, but just knowing that I've set up that process in my mind so that I know that that's helping me with my health in a very profound way. Not just I'm having an apple, but I'm having an apple and it's doing all this stuff for me.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes back round to like everything can be a drug if you choose it to be. And then we go into the whole thing of like what we get stuck on as what we think we need or what we get pleasure out of as drugs compared to what is medicine. Because at the end of the day, the subconscious wants medicine for things all the time. So that's where the addiction processes come in and say, I'm even though I think this is bad for me, for some reason I keep taking the action to do it because the subconscious believes it's medicines in some way.
Mm. Yeah. And sometimes I think when you do things, you get a little bit of a result, which is better than no result, even though it's not the right results for what you want or the right route. So sometimes we get stuck on doing something a particular way because it's even partially beneficial. And then, but it's being aware that if you're doing that until you can find a better route versus doing that because you think that that is the only way you're going to feel any better at all and the rest of it's not curable. So it's about being careful not to be stuck in those mindset moments as well. Well, that's given me some relief and that's it. That's as good as it's going to get. So we want to get out of that as good as it's going to get mindset and not give up on the fact that there could still be a better solution somewhere further down the line. And that might be just like a life raft holding you up for now or a life buoy, life ring. Claudia says as well to try it without any bias, Rory. So in response to what you were saying about trying things. So absolutely, yeah. Yes, no, some great stuff in here today. Um, I'm just trying to think what else we can say. So about being, yeah, all of this. And one of the topics that triggered this for us, we were talking about whether or not to do the whole conversation based on addiction as well. And it's like being stuck in that mindset. What other mindsets are you doing because they're healthy or doing because you feel addicted to them and actually unable to shift them if you wish to as well? Like if you are such a healthy eater, well, it's then excluding you from perhaps once a year going having a family meal with family because they eat differently. Is that an addiction to the point that you can't have even a little bit of flexibility that gets in the way of other life with other people, jobs, whatever? So I think there's looking at whether that is just absolutely rigorous values versus addiction versus inflexibility. And there's a lot of things that can come into this actually when we look into it more deeply, but there are quite extreme cases the other end, where I don't see mean extreme negative, but it could be extremely positive as well. So there's yeah, a lot. This is definitely more your topic than mine though. And I know I'm honestly, even I'm not feeling in the best place today. And I know it's because I ate something I shouldn't yesterday. So when you're talking about the chemical disruptors, for me, having so many allergies, even food is a chemical disruptor in my life. And that is a daily risk in and out every day. And like Rory's holding an apple there laughing because he knows for me, an apple is a disruptor I will not even consider. Apple will have me not coming out of the bathroom for 3 days, literally really, really ill. And it's like an anaphylactic reaction, or right through my system. And it starts off with the blistering and the face swelling and everything, all mouth stinging and blistering. So for me, an apple is absolutely not a healthy choice. Well, for Rory, an apple is a very healthy choice. So the same healthy option may not be the same for every person as well. And that's something to bear in mind when we're, like you're saying, doing research and taking advice from other people. It's one of the things my mum did tell me years ago that has always stuck with me, is to listen to all advice, but then choose the advice that suits you and let go of the rest. So that's one bit that I did pick up from my mum right from young, was to not over latch onto everything everybody says because they sound knowledgeable, because sometimes they may only be not knowledgeable in their own area, and they're trying to get you to do that because it worked for them, but that doesn't mean they've understood you, your situation, what's going to work for you, what your challenges are, your health barriers. So it is about getting your own research together from your GP about your own health, your own results, your own well-being, and getting to know your own body, really, your own body, your own mindset, your own beliefs. It's still a lot to work on yourself, but it's all possible. And the other thing is not to beat yourself up when it doesn't all happen overnight. Like you said at the beginning, we don't go from like, oh, worst day ever to best world ever in the blink of an eye. And it is progressive steps, and recognizing where progress has happened and recognizing where it's maybe not been such a good day today, but that doesn't always mean having gone back to square one either. It's not always like snakes and ladders where we go back to square one. So recognizing that sometimes there is a little bit of a step back or a drop down, but that's not the end of the world. That's just a minor setback. Shifting that mindset belief again. Why did that happen? What have I got to do to put it right again? What else may have changed, other circumstances, and going again. Keep moving forward.
Amazing. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing that. I love the idea that, what this conversation is bringing up, the it's not um the it's not the word polarizing. It's not polarizing. It's just the differences between things, like what you experience, Kay, and what I have experienced with the
Mm.
same with one thing. And so that's a great example. It's a brilliant example of how extreme things can be for the mind-body connection. So just knowing that there is that and it's not separable is important. The second piece is, like you just said, just to repeat that back, was to look out for what's general scientific knowledge. Even within scientific knowledge, there's broad studies, and then there's more focused studies. So the broader ones may have a lot more evidence for more people, but that more people then spreads out the reactivities amongst more neurotypical set of information, compared to a more focused study on a particular group of people and what their struggles are, what they want to achieve with this intervention or this thing. And so there's like specific studies, there's general overall research, there's that's just two types of intelligence, scientific intelligence. There's general common knowledge, and whether to question what to do with um, people, what people say in cohorts. Again, are they specific cohorts or are they general cohorts of what knowledge is?
Mm.
Because again, like we talked about learned helplessness, in one of the very first talks, which is like, almost like Chinese whispers that goes along, and then that belief system then can potentially be causing a whole load of health results for someone, because that's what they would only ever known, that they call that if they do that, that's bad for their health, or do this for it's good. So it's questioning it all. So, scientific knowledge, common knowledge, body knowledge, trialing and erroring as in within reason, um, on what works, but just, focusing on what works is so important to build up health and um, mental intelligence, and then this innate intelligence of whatever you want to call it, spirit,
Intuition
kind of
as well.
life that's just traveling through our bodies, it's just doing its thing. What could just be let go of and just allowed, relaxation and not trying to think of anything. Meditation as an idea can be a massive help for our mindset in our medicine, because we're not trying to intervene with anything. We're trying to just be and see what patterns of thoughts are existing. So that's again another thing, just to be to be curious, the cure. And I can't remember who said that. It wasn't me that thought that came to. That someone said, I think it's Marissa Peer. She talks about what the word cure is in curious. Um, uh,
Yeah, I've not heard that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really cool. I
Wow.
like it. So yeah, to be curious, it could help find cures for things, whatever that may mean, whether it's possible to cure something or not. And remedy and all these medicine, it's all there to achieve something or other. So
Yeah.
the final thing that I'll wrap up with around all of that, again, it's like being curious about what information and tr things to try out, not taking away anything that's apparently working straight away, um, too quickly, but seeing if there can be transitions and growth or change, because the mind and the body can grow and change over time slowly, uh, or sometimes fast when we don't have the choice, and or we don't believe we have the choice. Like something happens to us, um, or we just decide to go, I'm not doing this anymore, and because it's suddenly the belief system's changed. uh so that's what I would say around that, and it's so yeah, and anything to me is medicine when I put my mind to it. So I'm just gonna pull a card right now as well,
Oh, I haven't seen these for a while.
and it is.
Loves love. There we go. Love yourself. There you go.
Yeah, so loving, love, and it's written in black: to organize, to plan ahead. So like to read into that, love, planning what I love in my life is medicine in
Yeah.
its, because then when I'm planning it, I'm choosing to do those things that I love, then that in itself could be the leading cause of continued health for me.
Oh, it's amazing. And I love the use of the color as well, because with my emotional cycle diagram that I use in the book, um, like you said earlier, we can be ill, but we can still be happy. And that is definitely one I've had to work on the last few years with the back pain, with all the food allergies. I've had to still choose to be happy. And there have been times I'm walking down the street with my daughter or son or someone, and all of a sudden my back is agony. And I'm like, oh, it's like hanging on to something. And then it's like deep breath, straighten up, it's like, right, off we go again. And it's just not suddenly making it the worst day ever because my back's suddenly in excruciating pain or something, and still laughing, still smiling, still getting on with things. But just being able to get over that absolute severe point enough to then go, right, still hurts, but I'm still happy. And I have learned that it can be a conscious choice to be happy, even when in pain or even when not feeling well. And illness and pain can make us feel depressed and stressed and unwell, emotionally. But it's recognizing that in a way, we were very often, when we come back to thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, we were almost trained to feel like that at school because the only way you could get a day off was if you felt ill. So it's like when we're not feeling well, we have to be miserable and sad because otherwise nobody believes we're not ill and sends us to work or school anyway. So I think a lot of that comes back from the school system and parents going, no, you've got to go to school unless you're really ill. So I think we kind of learn, but a lot of children can be ill but still be happy and running around unless we teach them you've got, if you're not going to go to school, you've got to be really poorly. And so they play it on to not go to school. So I think there is something in that. But yeah, just recognizing that even if you're not feeling 100%, still put on a good movie, which is a comedy or a comedy series or some funny videos on YouTube, or find a good book to read, or have a friend round for a coffee or go and visit them for a laugh. Just even on a phone call, if you're really desperate, get in the Facebook group and share some funny video, comic memes, or read memes on YouTube. There's so much we can do to actually look at uplifting our days and tapping into those happy emotions in so many ways every day. It's all there, and it is making that mindset choice to do it. And remembering that when we are happy and we're creating more dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin by building that social life in as well, or if you have somebody that can hug you, if you're that wonderfully lucky that you have someone in your life to share a hug with, then that all helps as well. And it's all healing. Yes, and that's another one. I haven't done the hug workshop for a while. Perhaps I need to do the hug workshop again. So all that self-hugging as well, it all works to help release the positive chemistry and focusing on enhancing all of this mindset stuff from the internal emotional states as well. Otherwise, if you're doing all this positive mindset stuff with a thought of, yeah, I still feel fed up and this isn't going to work, then it is kind of counteracting it a little bit. It is going to work a bit, but the more positive we can be in it, the more mindful, the more happy, the more intentional, the more successful it will be. And I think that's been a tremendous talk. And honestly, you've led a great topic there today. Thank you, Rory. And also want to let everybody know that the next book launch for 30 Love Values is coming up on the book. Well, the book is out, but we are having the book launch celebration on Zoom on the 13th of November with the fundraiser for Davian Cares. So if anybody wants to come along to that, yay! Let's grab the book as well while I'm there. So there we go. We're talking about self-love and values, and it's all in here. There's 30 different ways to include self-love. And actually in every one of those 30, each includes 20 different ways to incorporate each one of these values into your daily life. So that is what we thought, 30 times 20, 600 different ways in that book to incorporate self-love and values into your life, your self-relationship, and other relationships. So 13th of November, but you will need to, if you're on Facebook, whether you're on LinkedIn or whether you're on YouTube, you will need to follow the links through to Eventbrite, and you will need to book a ticket to get on the Zoom. Now, because it is also a fundraiser that night, we've set it at a minimum of £1. So you only need to pay £1 to attend, or you can donate more. But anything you put extra on the ticket price will go to Davian Cares, not to me. That will go to the Children's Foundation for Uganda. But you will need to book the Eventbrite ticket, not just accept the Facebook or LinkedIn one. They're just showing an intent to turn up, but you will need to follow and book your ticket. And there's going to be a lot of fun on that night. So it will be a little bit of time dedicated to the book launch. There'll be some poetry readings from myself, Emma, Rory, and Sue. Ben Mukasa from Davian Cares is also going to be there doing a talk. I'm also hoping to have a special guest visitor if I actually remember to reach out and speak to him. I must do that this week. I still haven't done it. And then we're going to have one of Rory's wonderful online discos afterwards. So if you're not feeling happy enough after all that, you definitely will after a disco and a bit of dancing around in your seat. And remember to turn up some flashy lights ready to turn on for the last half an hour as well. So we proper disco on screen as well. So lots of fun to happen. And a night like that is always great to help boost mindset for anything. So get yourself booked in and join us on the book launch 13th of November. It's a Thursday night and it's 7 p.m. GMT. So thank you ever so much for an amazing chat again today, Rory, about mindset medicine and high leverage actions on the podcast. That has been awesome. If there's anything else you've got to say before we finish.
I love the way I related it to what we were talking about there, and it also helped to say we were organizing this love values.
And it's on World Kindness Day. So
Yes.
this is amazing. We're doing 30 love values on World Kindness Day and fundraising for 62 children who are in shelter because they've been rescued off the streets and they need some love and care too. So it all ties in beautifully on that day, and your card as well. Brilliant. All ties in. So if that's not a message from the universe, I don't know what it is. It's all tying in together. Amazing. Yes. I'm really
Brilliant.
excited about this event.
Yeah, yeah, so am I. Yes. It's yeah. Yeah, I can't remember if there anything left to bring in. There was a point and it kind of went in and out as you were talking. Uh,
Mm.
however, yeah, excited for the talk, excited for the event, and um, there was yeah, you did you mention that we're gonna do some fun stuff to do with
We haven't solidified that yet, so I hadn't mentioned it, but we will let you know. We've still got 3 weeks to go, 3.5 weeks. So we will
okay,
let you know. But there could be some fun activities on YouTube on in the group, sorry, in the Facebook group on the week leading up to, maybe YouTube as well, who knows. But if not, we might even arrange a series of talks for the World Kindness Day and do a series of talks through the week. Even I got plenty of people I could ask to come and join on a talk anyway. But we'll figure something out. But at the very least, the 13th of November is the main one. Is we want everybody to come and join us on Zoom, to be there for the book launch, for the fundraiser, for the disco, and have lots of fun. And it all works in with the mindset medicine all together. So thank you.
brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll see you all again next Monday.
Cheers.
Bye bye. This is going to be interesting, Rory, because it still says start streaming. And I know we've been streaming, so I don't know what this is doing to me.
It says it's streaming here on my side.
It says it is on all three, but it hasn't actually let me stop them. We'll do it here. Right, going. Bye.